This is Mac OS Ken.
The standard iPhone plays hard to get. Gurman disputes the Tim Cook retirement story. And more Apple video sports stuff. It is Monday, the 24th of November, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. I was thinking about singing it, that's why I kept laughing. Would that we knew what these numbers mean exactly, and from whence they come. Over the weekend, Apple 3.0 ran part of a note either from Evercore or from JP Morgan. The piece says it's from Evercore analyst Samik Chatterjee. Problem is, Chatterjee's the analyst for JP Morgan, while Evercore's Apple analyst is Amit Daryanani. So we don't know who said this, but we know what they said. The base iPhone is the one that is hard to get. Quoting somebody, lead times have moderated to 2 to 3 days for most of the iPhone 17 lineup, except base iPhone, relative to which we believe that supply is yet to catch up to the very robust demand observed in this cycle, with base model being the only variant still tracking to elevated double-digit lead times, overall supporting higher year-on-year demand and revenue growth outlook for iPhones. So whoever he happens to be, thinks the issue is one of demand, not supply. Knowing that there was a mistake in the Apple 3.0 post, though, I wanted something else to go on, so I went to scope the sitch on WayneDixon.com. Yeah, Wayne is still tracking availability for iPhones here in the States, and he was seeing the same stuff the analyst was seeing over the weekend. The analyst said 2 to 3 days for most iPhone 17 models, which is what Wayne tracked as well. From Apple, SIM-free. If you want an iPhone 17 Pro or iPhone Air, you can have it in 2 days. If you want a SIM-free iPhone 17 Pro Max, you can have that in 2 days, unless you want a 1 terabyte. That one, you're waiting 9 to 10 days. And finally, if you want a run-of-the-mill iPhone 17, you are waiting 10 to 12 days. Again, those numbers are for Apple here in the States. Carriers are all over the map, which is to say all over the calendar. Wayne doesn't guess why. He just keeps the count. Meanwhile, whichever analyst it was thinks it's something like overwhelming demand for the low-end phone. That still leaves lots of questions for which we have no answers. The most certain thing we can say right now, waits for entry-level iPhone 17 still seem pretty long for this late in the cycle. A little over a week ago, the Financial Times ran a piece saying 2026 will likely be the year that Tim Cook chooses to retire as Apple's CEO. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman seems to sort of disagree, maybe. Benzinga quoted Gurman's take on the issue. In Sunday's Power On newsletter, he's said to have said, "Based on everything I've learned in recent weeks, I don't believe a departure by the middle of next year is likely. In fact, I would be shocked if Cook stepped down in the time frame outlined by the Financial Times." Some people have speculated that the story was a test balloon orchestrated by Apple or someone close to Cook to prepare Wall Street for a change, but that isn't the case either. I believe the story was simply false. So says Gurman. Not to be a nudge, but the Financial Times didn't say Cook would be gone by the middle of the year. What it said was an announcement early in the year would give Apple's new leadership time to settle in ahead of its big annual keynote events, its developer conference in June, and its iPhone launch in September. To me, that sounds like paving the way for a gradual transition, not Cook throwing his click up and peacing out. Plus, nobody really thinks he's going anywhere anyway. On the heels of the Financial Times article, Daring Fireball's John Gruber said he expects Cook to take a post-CEO title like executive chairman. That would see Cook playing a significant, if not leading role for the company when it comes to domestic and international politics, especially with regard to President Trump. On the heels of the Gurman piece, Apple Insider said over the weekend, Cook is expected to stay on as chairman of the board when he retires, so even with Cook gone as CEO, expect his influence to carry on through his successor and his place on the board for years to come. It's possible that Gruber and Apple Insider are listening to the same people. It's also possible that Apple Insider is just listening to Gruber. Anyway, we are where we were a week ago, and a month ago, and a year ago. Tim Cook may or may not be retiring next year. Apple's offered 2 limited edition products over the past couple of weeks, and the company has seen the same number of sellouts. Week before last, Apple introduced iPhone Pocket. The crossbody sling for any sized iPhone was designed by Issey Miyake and priced as if it were. Running would-be buyers $150 for the short one and $230 for the long. Reports had the garment/satchel selling out in mere moments. Last week's offering was a different kind of thing. Designed by LA-based designer Bailey Hikawa, a piece last week from 9 to 5 Mac said the Hikawa phone grip and stand took into account input from users with multiple accessibility needs, including those who can't operate the iPhone with their hands or have limited dexterity. Offered to mark 40 years of accessibility at Apple, the MagSafe-compatible accessory was available through Apple's online store for $70. Until it sold out, which it did in about 2 days, according to a piece from Apple Insider. It's unclear whether Apple will offer more of the accessories, though Hikawa's firm will. A visit to the industrial designer's site shows 2 more versions on the way, one in cobalt and another in blurple, a swirl of blue and purple. Those are up for pre-order for the same $70 as before on the Hikawa site. Eddie the Butler is still doing his sports thing. Apple Must ran a piece late last week that had Apple's Senior VP of Services, Eddie Q, announcing an upcoming immersive documentary for Apple Vision Pro. That'll be focused on the Real Madrid Football Club, or soccer team, for folks with accents like mine. Citing a report from the Spanish version of GQ, the piece had quotes from Real Madrid president Florentino Perez. Perez says for years he's wanted a way for fans to experience the excitement of his club's stadium as if they were there. Apple is a company that represents the union between innovation, design, and excellence, according to Perez, who added, for Real Madrid, it has been essential to find a technology partner that shares that same vision. As for the documentary, the piece says it was shot during the club's 1-0 Champions League win over Italy's Juventus FC earlier this year. Recorded from every corner of the stadium, taking viewers from the changing room to the tunnel to the pitch, the Real Madrid Immersive doc will hit Apple Vision Pro sometime in 2026. And finally today, as big a star as Brad Pitt is, he will never be bigger than he was over the weekend in Las Vegas. 9 to 5 Mac says Apple TV plastered Pitt's helmeted head on the Sphere in Las Vegas over F1 weekend to promote F1 The Movie, making its way to Apple TV. If you're not familiar with the Sphere, it is a big building that 9 to 5 Mac says dominates the Vegas Strip. Like everything in Vegas, it lights up. Fun projections that have covered the exterior include a globe, a giant eyeball scanning its surroundings, and now the helmeted head of Sonny Hayes, Pitt's character in F1. That's how Apple TV got people to see the subscription door. As far as walking folks through it, the Cupertino streamer is offering a Black Friday special, 6 months of Apple TV for $5.99 per month. That's $7 off the usual $12.99 per month price. That offer is good for both new and returning subscribers. As for F1 The Movie, The movie hits Apple TV Plus on Friday, the 12th of December. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
If there is a blurb, well, the Lord keeps it hidden for a reason.